Some of these challenges have been about ballots that arrive after election day that are posted before the election. What is the current state?
Good morning, Phil.
Hey, Alan, I'm messing around with turning off the BBC. And why isn't my video working? There we go. I've a little bit behind times this morning.
That can happen.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
Getting ready. Go ahead.
I'm going to be hopefully closing out on that other document I'm working on this week. I started to read my book again because I learned a lot from rereading that document that we have to submit to the National Science Foundation. And so I thought, maybe I should read my book again. And I started last night, and it's a good job I did, because the English can be so much better than it is. So I'm going to be plowing through that. I'm also going to be probably phoning up and doing some volunteering work on phone calls today for the Democrats, and I ain't afraid to say it.
Well, my big day is Tuesday. I'm a poll worker on Tuesday, so
Good.
so it's a 16-hour day.
Thank you for serving. So we're gonna get started here in about 2 minutes, but good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lisa.
Morning.
Annie seems to be trying to get on, but she's slowly connecting. We're live on the YouTube. Let's see what else. So I'll present this thing. That's what I want to do. Boom. There we go.
Hey, while you're doing that, does everybody like my new window? Hang on a sec. There you go, look at that.
What? Wow. Did you do that?
Yeah.
With what?
Well, I'm kind of cheating a bit, because you can actually buy them and stick them on the window.
That's funny. If you're gonna be in there, might as well make it pretty.
Yeah.
Did you know I make stained glass?
What, do you make it?
Not the stuff you stick on, the actual thing. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I don't think I could remove the glass from there and put some other glass in. But nice to know you do make stained glass.
Yeah. I mean, yours is great. It's just funny. Okay, so we're gonna be live on YouTube. Anybody can use it. We're gonna greet each other. We're gonna do the topic intro, then we'll discuss things. We'll do action. We'll close with an action. And this thing is telling me Halloween is tomorrow. That's nice. Anyway, so anyone got Halloween plans? I should probably stop you, because I just asked that question, but I should get this thing started. Then we'll come back to Halloween plans. All right, but my computer was reminding me about Halloween plans, so my common ADHD response is to get distracted. It's also kind of cold in here, so my jaw is like sort of clenching up as I talk. I'm like, oh. I'm out in the garage, so we'll see how it goes. But I was actually going to do this in this other room over here, but I kept hearing the kids and my wife and all this stuff, and I was like, let's go see how this works. So I could also grab a coat, which I might do eventually here. But we're going to start with some potent goals. This one of my goals is to stay warm. So we are insatiable wanting machines. All right, so our brain is constantly wanting things. It wants that dopamine. And then the way that we, want it is in abstract ways. And if we continue with abstract ways, we're more likely to actually reach or head for goals. Whereas if we start with the more SMART objectives, then we'll get stuck on something we don't particularly want, but was the steps to get to something we wanted at one point. I don't know if that makes sense. So in other words, you know about SMART goals. They're very useful to getting to a objective, which means something that's very solid, very where it's at the moment. But you can think of things you've wanted in your past that you no longer want. There are things you probably wanted at one point and you were heading towards it and realized, no, it actually better to get to it this way. Now, the thing is, if you do that switch, like, oh, it's better to get to it this way, that's what you're switching your SMART goals, your SMART objectives. And that's a really good thing to do because your brain is still going to want something and it may not be the original thing. And if it's an abstract thing you want, it's more easy to bend the other stuff to get there. And the cool thing about this is then you're actually doing things that your body and brain want to do. And it kind of keeps you on target. It's sort of like, I think it's not very intuitive, but from brain research, this is what they found out really kind of works. And again, I'm getting this brain research thing from a gal I know here named Joycelyn Campbell from Farther to Go. So welcome to Adam's Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs. I'm going to introduce myself real quick. Then I'm going to go get a coat because I can already feel my jaw jittering, like as you guys drink your cup of coffee all peacefully. I also have wilderness. I'm a wilderness first responder, and there's the umbles of what they mean that you're actually getting into. I'm even already getting into it right now. So these all have to do with getting frozen, and I'm trying to think of the right word, and it's not coming. But the umbles are stumbles, which I haven't quite done yet, but my jaw is. The mumbles, which I feel like I'm about to do, and grumbles, which means I'm getting grumpy. That hasn't happened yet, but that'll come on soon. But actually, if you get into the grumbles, you're very, very much likely getting into hypothermia. That's what the word is, hypothermia. So I'm going to go fix my hypothermia a little bit, and I'll be back. But my name is Adam Sparks Brechtel, and I have Sparks Flow, and I help people prioritize their needs and take care of them. So I'm going to take care of that. Alan, I think, well, actually, Annie was here first, but I don't know if you're on audio. Are you on audio, Annie?
Yes, I think I am. I don't think I'm on mute.
Yeah,
So-
I hear you. You were still connecting a moment ago. So, all right. So Annie, Alan, Phil, and then Lisa. I'll be back with a coat. Just go
What am I
ahead,
supposed to do? I'm supposed to introduce myself? Is that the,
Yeah, introduce yourself.
okay, I am Annie Irizarry. I am the founder of Core Community Housing, Sustainable Community Development and Real Estate. I think that's about it. You know, former project manager and Scrum Master consultant, right? That's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm working with Phil at the moment on a proposal for the National Science Foundation. We're going after $1.5 million. We're kind of winding down on our proposal, getting ready to finalize it and submit it and get that $1.5 million. So that's where we're at the moment.
Yeah. Way to get the $1.5 million.
Right, in our goal, in our potent goal, that is one goal of a few goals that I have in line with potent goals. That's one of a few that I've got. So that's a primary goal for me, among other things. And working on my wing checklist, that's another goal that I have, but that's a whole different chapter altogether. So, yep. Well, which we'll talk about, I guess, later on as we get further into this discussion.
That's right. But I'll even pull up your website here if you put it on already. Look at you. You're on top of it. So if anyone has a website, they can...
Yeah, I'm also going into a conference in the middle of November on tiny houses because that's something that's very much my interest, a personal interest. So
Oops.
I'm attending that conference virtually. So learn something new on tiny houses. They have some rather interesting design and they're getting better and better. So I'm hoping to learn something.
Have you watched on Netflix tiny house or whatever thingy thing?
Yeah, I follow that. The minimalism and tiny house. I'm really fascinated about that space. And if I have to sell my house, I'm going in towards that direction.
Man, I want a tiny home.
Yeah.
I laugh because my wife is not in that direction, so it's not likely to happen.
Well, it's likely to happen for me, right? So I'm trying to shed stuff. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm shedding stuff.
Here we go. So this is the other link you put on there. We'll get that up here. Your tiny house conference. Oh,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested, it's really interesting. It's virtual. So if you guys are interested in attending, it's a 3-day event from the 13th until the 15th of November.
I'm interested. Mr. Allen.
Well, my name is Alan Ramos. I'm a retired entrepreneur and a general observer of life from my tiny little corner of the world, my bubble in Albuquerque. That's it.
Great. Phil. Yeah. Gotta figure it out.
Phil Wilton.
Phil, you're up.
Yeah, Phil Wilton. I see we got Jen Booth and 2 people join us as new ones today, which is kind of cool.
Organizers, sort of.
Yeah, nice. Welcome. So I'm a semi-retired, I think, consultant. So I'm doing a little bit with Annie, as she just said, and I'm also writing a book on how you plan to do strategy. And I'm going to go through for a 2nd and 3rd read of my book. I'm in the process of trying to get it published. My goals in life have been very many and varied, but 2 prominent ones that I always wanted to do, or 3 actually, is I always wanted a Jaguar E-Type, and I think you call it what do you call it over in the US? It's an XF or something. I can't remember. The 1960s Jaguar with the sports Jaguar with the top down.
I'm gonna stop you a moment. Does anybody know any of the fancy language beyond Jaguar that he's talking about?
Ah, well, okay. It's a very classy sports car. So I actually did get one of those when I lived in Germany.
You were asking for our feedback on it was the reason. I was like, I don't think you're asking the right crowd, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And my other goal was to collect a series of Hank Jansen books, which none of you know about, which is a UK author, and he wrote books during the 40s and 50s that were pulp fiction books, and there were about 300 of them, and I collected the whole set, and then I sold it. And the other one is I collect paper currency from all around the world.
Oh, okay. I mean, I like to collect currency too, but I don't care where it's from.
Currency that I keep, actually.
Wait, is this how you spell his name?
Hank Jansen, Janson.
Ah, there we are. Stephen.
Yeah.
What?
You should see some of the book covers. They are absolutely adorable.
Oh dear. Okay, well that's a thing.
There you go.
we now have been enlightened, I guess. Okay, so
Oh my, those covers are risque.
No, it's not only, man. This is 1940s, 1950s. This is completely different era.
Yeah, that's true. It's
That's
very
right.
different. But
even though they're not nibbling on each other on the front cover, it's way more domestic, I guess, or docile. That's what I'm thinking.
I'll be a la Marilyn Monroe style.
Okay, well, so
That's my current website.
my heart racing there. That was exciting. Okay, so
That woke us up.
Yes.
thank you for that. And what's this Jaguar? We gotta look what this Jaguar is.
Jaguar E-Type.
Jaguar E-Type?
Yeah. It's one of these.
That's classic. Look at that.
Oh, nice.
That is what you think of a Jaguar.
Very
This
nice.
is the car I actually had.
Nice.
Like a real one, not just this one.
That's
Not a
good.
miniature version, eh?
That's great. Thank you. Lisa.
Very nice.
So, yeah, you will never catch me driving a car like that because the cars have to be really small for me to drive them. Because I have no depth perception. And it is for that reason, among others, that I do accounting for a living and not fly planes or, anything that requires being able to see distance. So what we do is we work with small to mid-sized companies. We help them with all kinds of things having to do with their accounting, their workflows, just getting and staying in compliance, payroll, bookkeeping, tax prep advisory, the usual stuff. For goals, actually, this week, I'm kind of excited that I have not my business website, but I actually do have a website for you, Adam.
Yes.
So one thing that I do in my free time, and I've been doing it for a few years now, is I draw a non-violent superhero comic, and I just launched the website last week, and I'm starting to post. I have 75 pages. I posted the first 4, and I'll be posting those twice a week and drawing more. Oh, I put the thing in the chat, Adam.
I just wanted to see if I came up with something. Okay. All right.
Probably not.
Okay. Well, maybe you're famous already. Now I gotta figure out how to find my chat. Give me a moment here. Okay, I'm getting to it. Good. Okay.
And this is actually appropriate for all ages, so that'll be, a nice little.
I won't get surprised by the visual I'm gonna get.
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
That's exciting. There, Professor.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I've been drawing it since 2017, and so I finally decided to put it into an actual website.
That's exciting.
Yeah, the pages are the numbers are the episode numbers, so obviously reverse, But yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's something I've been wanting to do for about a year now, ever since I realized I had 75 of them. And I was like, man, I can do something with this now.
PP, Professor Peace.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I won't give it away to everybody else. You gotta visit her place. Visit her.
It's not only Professor Peace.
If you like it, please. I'm still trying to get people to check it out. So if you like it, share it.
What is that? All you do is just take this guy and share it, or is there some gizmo on here that helps you with that?
I don't know. I mean, but the website's not that hard to get to, so.
Yeah. And
an
you
insanely long website address.
You bought a domain.
Yeah, I own the domain.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Lisa. That's exciting. So
I am really excited about this.
That's cool. So, Jen and I forgot your husband's name, Jen.
Pierre.
Pierre. Okay. Pierre. Wait. What? Okay. So I was trying to figure out your P, but
Backwards.
Backwards
So-
P, yeah.
For those that you don't know, Lisa's website for her business is an ongoing saga, and so when she's come on, I've always asked like, oh, what about your website? But she does not want you to go to it because
That's what happens when accountants do their own website, is all I'm going to say about that.
but they're coming up with a new one, and sometime it'll be up. But in the meantime,
Yeah.
you get financial insights from Professor Peace.
Yeah.
I hope so.
That's great. All right. So Jen and Pierre duo.
Yes. We moved here from Rhode Island about 4 months ago.
Welcome.
And our previous background was decorative painters, muralists, and color consultants, and regular painting. But anyway, our wrists got sore, our backs got sore. So we decided to change careers. And we've embarked on a career as declutterers and personal organizers.
Yeah.
Oh, you got competition, Adam.
It's that the competition makes you better. All right. That's what it is. Besides, there are people that won't like my humor. So
Yeah, it was
I say join forces together. Maybe there's a benefit to joining forces.
yeah. No, and we do that too. Sometimes the organizers will work on projects together that like, so someone was trying to move their home or trying to redo a whole thing. So we'll all come in and work together. But also we're the philosophy for all the organizing groups I've been part of has been an idea of abundance anyway. So there's all sorts of people out there that want someone to help organize them, and they've all different sorts of wants. And you're going to find your ideal clients, and the more other organizers you can also say, wow, you've got an interesting situation. I think I know someone who you'd really enjoy working with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to connect with Miriam Ortiz, who is the founder of More Than Organized. She's a valuable person to be connected with.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know her. But we're, a lot, the image of organizers, a lot of people have is sort of like perky people. We want to be the opposite of that. We like the sort of grunge psychological side of it, like the magical thinking involved and, holding on to your mom's shopping list from when you were 5, or, we met one lady who was keeping some branches that she had in her college dorm like 50 years ago or something. So the dynamics of why people think like that is really interesting to us. And, so we'd like to go after the customers who, well, they like some chaos, maybe they like creative chaos. The whole thing is to have sort of organized chaos. And we're not seeking to like turn people into like thoroughly organized, Marie Kondo people. We like the idea of working with the chaos element.
That's exciting.
And respecting that,
That's cool. Cool. So I know that, Jen, you have a website, but it's about for your images or something. So I don't know if that's Oh,
well, no, we don't have a website for the organizer. We have a domain name. Our company name is Space Transformations. We do have a mural website, but it's being revamped right now because it hadn't been updated in a long time. So that kind of just serves as a portfolio, but I think it's under construction right at this moment. So we can share it down the road. We're website-less at this point.
It's a common theme in this group.
Yeah. And Adam, what do you mean by abstract goals?
Oh, that's great. It has to do with comparing it with objectives, like SMART goals, which are very concrete and have very specifics. Whereas abstract is it's more in the vein of like things you sort of want but are harder to describe. And I'll get into that a little bit more, but I would like to have JJ talk for a moment. I don't know if we lost Lindsay, but all right. Hi, JJ, welcome.
Adam, appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Well, welcome, or hi, everybody. I shouldn't say welcome. I'm new, obviously, so I've been working with Adam a little bit for the last couple of weeks, and I've joined a few of the different, 1 million cups, different things. And so my name is JJ Alcantar here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I work for the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. So I'm sure some of you are very familiar with, chambers, how they work, but specifically here at the Albuquerque Hispano, we basically, we're small business owners, entrepreneurs, and basically just looking out for the growth of the economic development of New Mexico. And like all of you, Lisa, like you, we're looking for large to small businesses and providing them resources, training, workforce development. We do a lot of different things, especially right now with COVID. We've been extremely involved in helping a lot of companies who don't have the resources. It's been refreshing to have some owners come to us, and it triggered with me when you said that, Lisa. They've come to us and said, I want to be an expert in baking. I don't want to do payroll, accounting anymore. I don't want to do those things. I just want to, focus on my niche. So those are some of the things we do when we provide those resources. you know, I welcome, Adam, I appreciate you bringing up our site. One of the things I'd welcome you guys to do is check out our site. We've been super creative and had to pivot and be very flexible in this time, and what we've done even for, I'll let that play if you want to, sure.
Oh, sure. I'm just playing with the site while you talk, but
okay,
we'll
no
do
worries.
this.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, you go for it, because I don't think the sound's going to come through well.
no worries. Well, you know, one of the things that we're really proud of right now is we've had local musicians and local artisans come to us and ask us for their help, because here at the Hispano Chamber, we get funded by obviously large corporations, small business, the lodgers tax for hotel and tourism. Hospitality has been hit very, very hard right now. So we're basically doing a lot of cool showcasing for Monday morning music we do for local musicians, and we put them up at a hotel. So we're killing two birds with one stone. We do a virtual tip jar for them, help them make money. Tons of cool things that we're doing. We're doing daycations, staycations for hotels. So you name it. But for me, what my goals are is basically to just get my brand out there, get my name out there into the community, and plant some of those seeds and really work with individuals like yourself. You know, we have a lot of members, about 2,000 members, business owners from A to Z, from 20 employees or less to large corporations. And if you're interested in joining the chamber, what we do is get you in front of our board. We've got all the usual suspects, PNM, you know, APS, UNM, all the different members of our board. But, you know, as you guys know, small businesses are the backbone of our community and our economic development. So we're doing a lot of great things here at the chamber, and just happy to be a part of this. And Adam, I appreciate you introducing me to some great people already, and some great entrepreneurs, startup companies, and we're collaborating quite a bit. And that's, at the end of the day, for me, what it's all about is collaboration and partnership, for sure.
That's great. Yeah. So Lisa, you've been talking about local folks and stuff, and this is one of the top teams of people you could probably join to get to know, especially I would say our specialty, which is the specialty contractors. But as I've explained before, I've kind of just by opportunities situation kind of moved away from specialty contractors, not because I want to, but just because that other people are talking to me. So, but
yeah, I mean, that's not the only thing that we do either. That's just, we have people who do all kinds of things. I have somebody who runs a dog daycare. I love going to their office.
Right.
Well, before COVID, but yeah, it was great going to their office because there's usually about 15, 20 dogs running around. What's bad about that?
Just keeps going. All right, there we are. All right, so that's the page. Well, thank you, JJ. Yeah, this is it's pretty exciting stuff. And for those that don't know, you don't have to be Hispanic to be part of the Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Just like you don't have to be Black to be part of the Albuquerque African American professionals of the greater Albuquerque area, or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a long name. But we got something in the chat here. Okay. Well, thank you, JJ. I'm gonna look on here. We've got
JJ. I might give you a call later.
That's great. So Lisa also put her contact information. Please feel free to put your contact information for those that don't know in the chat here. If you do not want it on a YouTube later on the description things, tell that to me. But otherwise, I'm going to add it to the bottom of the YouTube thing if I get to that. I used to do that pretty religiously, like I did every time. But so far, I've sort of let that slide by the side, and because I've been pretty busy with other things, which is good for my business, but not necessarily for consistency on the YouTubies. Yeah, and so for those that don't know, we are live on YouTube, and if you would like to use anything from this this clip, you can use it in your own social media thingies. So that's what. I'm gonna pull back up my intro slides there. So let me go back to that guy.
Are you warming up, Adam?
Am I warm? Yes, this jacket is very nice. So for those that didn't catch the beginning of this today, I explained that I had started in a different room, and then I came to this room because the home noises were all coming at us. But this room is a garage, which I like except that it's not insulated. So I was starting to have the umbles. What's going on with my slide here? All right. Boom. Come on. That's funny.
Well, you're getting that up, Adam. Phil, one of the book names that I saw were All Tramps Are Trouble.
What? Oh, from the
Yeah.
Jane.
That's the one that caught my eye. So I might have to look into that.
The titles are not what caught my eyes, but that's okay. All right, so this guy is being funky. So I'll just go ahead and go back to my.
While he's doing that, Alan, I still haven't decided on a book title for mine. I've got about 8 or 10 titles now. I'm trying to decide between.
Well, that's always a challenge.
It is.
I gave you my best shot, so.
Yeah. You just got to, I mean, it's got to be something that, you know, when somebody goes into a bookshop and they pick it up, they're going to go, oh, what's that all about? And every time I think of or get a title, I think about it for a day or two, and then I think, oh, no, that one sounds better. So I'm not there at the moment.
That's the old adage of paralysis by analysis.
Yeah.
That's weird. So this is oh, go ahead.
No, if he wants to put some titles out.
Yeah. So one of the things with the Google Slides is I'm not impressed. So I originally was doing this because it was something just convenient that I had. But I found out that there are so many glitches with this guy. It's not the best for live presenting in any case. But it works for now. So, you know, I start with the imperfect, and at some point maybe I'll get excited about doing something else. But I'm happy, usually. But all that glitch and stuff that I just bring that up, just for a note, is a bit of a problem. All right, so and as far as the background talk, that's great. You guys break in anytime. It's all informal. So this is just these goals that we have here, or this topic I have is more just like kind of a workaround and something I'll try and bring back to the audience, but you can take it wherever you want. So you were asking about abstract earlier, Pierre, and I'll tell you where I got this. And I'm gonna go back now that I've opened this up. We've got there's a lady in town. Her name is Joyce Campbell, and she has this. I don't know how to exactly call it. She's not exactly a teacher, but she's not exactly anything else. So she has been studying brain science for the past 20 years and really getting good at it. And I tell you, like when I talk to her and stuff, she has some really cool stuff that she has to say. And so you can come here, and if you join her Facebook group, you can even meet with her kind of like this on like once a month in the evenings. She does this thing where she kind of talks about a particular topic in brain science. And then she has all these courses that you can sign up for. And the first of the courses is more like your regular kind of class course sort of thing, where she sort of just tells you, you know, how the brain works in these certain ways. But then the rest, that's wired that way. And then the rest, though, are more about like you creating your own goals and stuff. And so I'm going through this right now. So a lot of the stuff I'm saying is kind of like me just trying to reword what she's told me and trying to make sense of it. But I did one of the evening meetings that she has. They're just, you know, you pop in and she kind of talks about something, and there's a little bit of interaction, but most of it's just her trying to like, you know, figure out how she wants to talk about something. That's the reason it's free. It's sort of, these sessions, like they are totally worth the time and the money you put into them. But from what I can tell, because she really helps you kind of like think about your particular goals and stuff. And the abstract part is like this. So the way she explains it, and it's pretty cool, is she has two items that she always like picks up, and she says, right, so this is where you want to be, you know, and this is where you are, and that them coming together is what your brain is constantly trying to do. But if you don't have any goals that you're going for, then you're not drawn to anything, and so then your brain just kind of goes back into sort of a rest state. What status quo is what she calls it all the time. But if you look at her image here of these gerbils on the wheels, the idea is that your brain has two major parts, and this is language system 1 and system 2 that's come out in brain studies more in the past 10 years or so. But system 1 is constantly going, it never stops. System 2 is the one that will run out of energy or shut down. When I talk about decision fatigue, that's what this is. This is your brain has finally given up. It's like, all right, I am out of energy. All right, the rest of the brain is going to take over. So if you are awake, well, even when you're asleep, but this part of the brain will keep going. And the question is whether you have enough energy to keep going in direction or not. And so this part of the brain wants things all the time. And if you don't have something in front of it for it to want, then it's gonna go its own way, and it's gonna be the way that you usually go, because it doesn't have morals, it doesn't have anything else. It has what you usually do, and that's what it learns, and so it does that. The reason that comes back to abstract is because the abstract is easier for you to want. I guess that's, like I said, this is I'm kind of getting a sense of this stuff. We always talk about SMART goals, and I've heard even before I started talking to Joycelyn that really what makes a goal work is it needs to have emotional stuff behind it. And so she's putting it in another set of terms for me, and she uses the word abstract. And the reason is because you are then more flexible, and you can change the objectives and everything. So you can realize that, you know, whatever direction you were going isn't the direction you want to go anymore. You can shift it like that. I'm sure, Phil, in writing your book, you've found out that like there's a lot of things that work that way. You know, you were probably heading one direction and you changed parts of your book. At least that's my understanding of how books work.
Yeah, the book is a model, actually. Yeah. It goes through a process from beginning to end. And I've built the model in my head from not just practically doing strategic plans in companies, but also working with a lot of different companies and seeing how they work and how they process themselves. So, and I managed to put together this model that is connecting three different well-known options that are out there that people use separately, and nobody's connected them. So I brought them together, and I think that my only variance is in how much do you use one with the other, and how much can one rely on the other, and drawing those dots to connect them so that there's a smooth transition has been the objective to the book, if that makes sense.
Is that like what I guess I was asking was, has the book always looked the same to you in your mind as it has been turning out?
Yes.
Oh, fine. You're a bad example.
What it looks fine to me, but does it look fine to you as the reader? And that's what I've got to think about. I know what I've got in my head, and I can write what I've got, but I've got to put it in such a way that the reader is going to be saying, oh, this is interesting, this could help me, this could be of value to me. And so I've got to structure how I sell that idea to potential readers.
Yeah, so that's your abstract. You know, you've got this thing out there, like you want it to be successful in this sort of thing, but that it's hard to measure that sort of thing, right? But to get there, you do have like objectives that you're following to get there, but it might change how it looks in the end. Does that make sense? As far as
yeah, but the model doesn't change. The model is fixed.
All right.
how you define each stage of the model and how you use each stage of the model defines whether you're going to be successful in achieving the goal at the end of the day. And hopefully that's what the book is giving you many different ideas. It's not I don't put just my thoughts in there from my experiences. I use real life challenges that companies have had, like Intel, right? Yeah. So Intel is the biggest semiconductor manufacturer in the world, okay? And they were in memories, and everybody knows them for doing microprocessors. Well, back in the day, when they were number one in memories, then Japanese started to get in the market, the Japanese were undercutting them. And whatever price Intel was selling memories at, the Japanese would undercut them 5 or 10%, to the extent that they were actually collapsing Intel. And Gordon Moore and his sidekick, his name's gone out of my head, said, what are we going to do about this? And they didn't know what to do about it. But down in the depths of Intel, they had people that were designing microprocessors. They were memory with software. And so they said, okay, well, let's go with this idea and see if we can get this as a market. And that's basically what they did. And then they regained control over the world's markets.
Okay. So even though I couldn't get you to use your book as an example, you have an example in your book.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. In my book, I've got my examples, and I've also got business examples that help people understand how they can look at their companies and better operate within their organizations.
Yeah, so Intel had this abstract idea of being good at something, right? And if they'd stuck with just being with memory and making the fastest memories systems, then they would have become obsolete, right? Because some people over in Japan already got it so that they could be better at this thing.
No, they weren't better. They were just undercutting them.
Oh, so they figured out a way to change their objectives that still went towards their abstract goals. So Pierre, do you have anything that you know, like for instance, your businesses? So what are your goals with your business?
Well, it's first we want to sort of get up to a snuff technologically. We were working with a 19-year-old on creating some YouTube videos. And we're just working on sort of, sales pitches, condensed ways to communicate what we're about. So that's the immediate goal. I mean, with COVID, we can't do too much of it. I mean, we're sort of just getting acquainted with Zoom. Yeah. But getting back to some of the terminology that you use, I guess, the brain's momentum, I guess Buddhists would call it habit energy. Okay. And it's interesting to picture that as not being moral, particularly. I mean, it's just like a force.
Yeah.
And the term decision fatigue is interesting too. It reminds me of back when I was into like reading like too many self-help books. You get like self-help book fatigue where you're not really following through on any one methodology.
Yeah.
And you're substituting reading a book for actually doing something,
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, like decision fatigue is sort of you're not really making your decisions from a firmer point of who you are and what you want, the sort of flaky decisions that are.
Well, and that's great for you to be aware of that with your business too, because then, you're able to share that with your folks. The other thing about that decision fatigue and like the momentum of your status quo, the way that your brain, your number one system likes to run is that if you let it go, it's just gonna kind of take over that sort of thing. I feel like I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. That's great. So yeah, you had an abstract goal, and I'm gonna try and understand what you're saying there. You have the abstract goal of being like up to snuff with technology in your business.
Yeah, that's the next goal. Yeah, like PowerPoint presentations.
Okay. So you're trying to do that, and the method. So you have some objectives that you've probably already set out. Like, this is how we're going to do it. This is when we're going to do it. Our 19-year-old fella here, he's going to help this happen. and we're
Yeah.
gonna do it this way. And then along the way, you found out something doesn't work, especially with technology. Anyway, and you had to switch around a bit, right? So that's kind of the idea there is if you said, no, this is how we're gonna do it, if these are the steps we're gonna take, and then those weren't working, you start getting frustrated. Or a much more I think probably a more common thing that happens with people with goals, but it also really disappoints them, is they have this abstract goal in mind, but they don't know about it. Like they know kind of generally what it is, or they lose sight of that because they make this strict, this is how you do it goal, the important thing. And so if you do just this way, then what happens is you get somewhere in the middle or even near the end, and you realize you don't want it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Something in your own life has changed, or something in, if you talk about technology, something about technology has changed. And so the abstract goal that your brain actually wants, the thing that it actually desires, it no longer fits these more logically put together ideas that you were trying to follow to the logical conclusion. That makes sense. So, and
it's
so you
kind of like being able to change tactics too. I mean, change, you know, fluidity. Yeah, because the mind does have its sort of really rigid side, and which, you know, again, you see in the decluttering business, you know, people clinging to whatever, you know, the old jacket or something, you know.
Yeah. We it's the limbic, right? The all the emotions. That's what's really driving a lot of things, and that's why the abstract is a lot more powerful. It's because you're thinking about like what your emotions want, and they'll push for, and it's pretty good stuff. So that's why if you make it abstract, something that's more, it catches more with your emotional system, then it's gonna be more powerful. That's what a lot of that means. So JJ, have you experienced any of this with your moves into Hispano Chamber of Commerce or before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think hearing everybody, the terminology that you guys are using, the decision fatigue, you know, we have a lot of members that have COVID fatigue, right? So what we're having to do is be flexible with that, because business owners are falling victim in the sense of they had original goals.
Yeah.
And those original goals were put aside to adapt to achieve mandatory goals, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are the things that we're seeing. For me, I think just in regards to, you know, getting myself transitioned into the Hispano Chamber, it's easier for me. My father was a business owner, so I've kind of had that passion from that standpoint, help run my father's business. But I come from a banking and a finance industry. That was my experience from before. So having to do that transition, absolutely. There's some things that I've had to adapt to. Absolutely.
And I'm glad you brought up the COVID stuff, because that's a huge sign, right? We have these goals that we thought this is how things were going to work. Like, for instance, even us talking right now would not have happened had COVID not occurred, because I was accustomed, the way that I would build my network is I'd go to events. Well, the events aren't really happening as much now. So I started my own event, and that's how this happened. Because I knew that I wanted the group to get together. But
like
that's
true. Yeah, and like you, Adam, what we're doing to pivot and be flexible and adapt is we're doing virtual ribbon cuttings.
Yeah.
We're doing those virtual YouTube face streaming videos of musicians at hotels, like I said earlier. But the virtual.
Tell me more about that. What's a ribbon cutting, and then what? Yeah. Of course, the virtual thing I think will follow.
Yeah. So just like any of you, you know, let's say, you know, Phil, we work together, and we've got a lot of members that are seeking, because of the things that you're saying, we're seeking owners talking about, I just don't want to deal with the legal aspects of COVID, because I don't want to deal with the sick leave, and I don't understand that stuff. So do you have any members in your directory that are consultants, that are XYZ? Sure. So we'll connect them to that. But let's say you're a brand new member. What we do is we want to get you exposure. So we have like KRQE, Albuquerque Journal, that are our members. So we do a public press release. And that's what's public. But what we do internally is we do these things called Membership Mondays, where what we want to do is introduce you to our membership directory and our board of directors to get you exposure, to let everybody know, you know, that there's help, that there's other things that you can do to achieve your goals still, and really more so just to tell them about who you are and what services you have to offer. So that ribbon cutting is substituting going actually live and doing a physical ribbon cutting in front of their business to say, we're welcome into the chamber. We give them a plaque and they put it inside, those types of things.
Well, the cool thing too is virtually that might even be more potent because more people can attend. So that's, even though there's difficulties you're facing, there's these opportunities that can come up too, which go towards your abstract goal, which is really exciting. That, you know, using the time and the struggle to create something even better. And that's great. Oh, by the way, I mentioned struggle. That's really important on any goal, because if you're not struggling, you're dead. And your brain is constantly trying to solve those struggles. That's what you're doing all the time. Whether it's that you're going to eat, that you're going to sleep, that you're going to, you know, do something engaging like some sort of work. That's what your brain has those desires and those struggles. And that's what makes you still feel alive. So it's pretty cool. So Lisa, are there this, I kind of want to talk about your cartoons, but I also kind of want to move towards the financial discussion. Do you have a good example in one of those?
Well, you know, one of the things that we do with our higher level is not, I guess, the right term. So our clients who we provide more services to, like, you know, on a more regular basis, is we sit down with them and, you know, we ask them, you know, like once a quarter, you know, we're like, well, you know, the first conversation is we try to have this conversation with them once a quarter. But the first time we ever have this conversation with them, it usually goes a lot like, you know, we'll ask them, you know, what do you want for your business? And they want it to grow, they want it to be successful, but they don't have any like really concrete ideas about how they want to grow. They don't even like have a number, you know, like we want to grow 10%, or we want to, you know, bring in another $100,000, or, you know, whatever it is. They don't have that a lot of the time, because the vast majority of the people that I deal with are not entrepreneurs. They're just really, really good at what they do. They're not running a business. I mean, they are running a business, but it's not like they're entrepreneurs and they went to business school and, you know, whatever. Which I totally feel their pain, because I know nothing about things like marketing or, you know, whatever. So we all have our strengths, but a lot of what that is sitting down with them and, you know, trying to flesh out some more kind of, you know, fleshing out something more concrete that we can actually help them work towards. So if, you know, they're like, we want to grow, you know, then if it's a specialty trade company, we might say, okay, how many more trucks would you like to put into service between now and X date? Or if it's, you know, one of our professional service companies, it might be more like, okay, so how much would you like to increase your monthly retainer income? So how many more people, or how much more, you know? So once they know that, then we can help them, you know, look at what they're doing. But a lot of the times when we have those conversations, especially those early conversations, the goals are very abstract, because when you have a goal, but it's new territory for you, you don't really know how to get there, you know, so you don't really maybe necessarily know even the terminology of the thing, like
and Lisa, this is like a place I think that you really you flourish in too, because you talked about how you're not a turnkey sort of accountant system.
Right. Yeah. We don't like to do that, because everybody's got a different dream. But, you know, and so we kind of help give them the language to make those goals more concrete. It's like Jen and Pierre, you know, they're trying to get into, you know, marketing and technology and things like that, but it's kind of a foreign language almost, which I totally feel, because Yeah. I don't, marketing and technology and, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, all of those different platforms, it's like, it's very overwhelming because, you just kind of like, oh my God, there's all this stuff. I don't even know where to begin. So, yeah, I think that that's another thing about abstract goals when you're entering a space that you don't really have the vocabulary for.
Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to save the chat real quick so that in case, because sometimes the chat is messed up, but my computer's acting weird on me. Okay, I'm gonna cancel that, and because I want to make sure I get your guys' information on here. Yeah, so Jen and Pierre. So Jen, I haven't heard from you much, and I'm curious more about like, do you feel like you're seeing a lot of things that Lisa was talking about? That you kind of have this abstract goal and you're trying to figure out how to tie it into the objectives, or do you feel like it's the other way around? A lot of people, I think they have to have solid objectives and then they do it the other way around, and then maybe come into the abstract goals, which is really what they're thinking about the whole time. They just don't know it.
I think everything feels abstract right now because it's up in the air. So we moved across the country, and that was going to be kind of abstract. We'd be starting from scratch with like meeting people and networking, and then everything went out the window as far as what you said, the normal way of connecting to people.
Yeah.
So groups and just meeting your neighbors, like basic stuff like that, going to yoga class or wherever you meet people, the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So everything feels abstract, and the future feels abstract. So since we're both hands-on people, we work face-to-face, we work in people's houses, we've been doing that for years. And so I don't know how we manage that. So luckily we have some, we sold our house, we can sit for a while and not have to worry about income for a little while.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we can't just go into sleep mode like the little
hamster.
Because you can just distract yourself forever. So
if you don't give yourself something to focus on, you'll just go through the routine. So
so we have our short-term goals, I think. I mean, joining this group, and there's other groups like that, talking about what we do, being better about talking about it. That's one of the things we want to do. So part of this thing of creating little YouTubes is getting comfortable with being on film, being comfortable speaking, even if it's on film version, not in person.
Yeah. And with video, they say that you want to be like 10 times more animated than you are in person. Have you heard that before?
No, even if it's just your head?
Yeah, because there's so little context. And so, that's right, JJ, like that. You big smiles. No, you don't have to smile the whole time. Obviously, some people don't like too many smiles. So you can be friendly. But usually big actions, you just more engaging if you're more active. But then again, maybe that's not your brand, right? You want to create some sort of something you want to connect with people. And if you don't think that you're going to be flamboyant in person, then maybe being flamboyant on here won't be the best. But this isn't my specialty. This is just stuff I've heard. And one of the things I heard is that when you're interacting on visual, you just kind of accentuate everything that you would do. So
I think there's a danger in that.
Yeah.
And the danger is if you just take that in the abstract, you will be inauthentic and you'll be a cartoon. I think my bias is that you let your authenticity and your passion come through whatever you're doing. And if you can let your passion come through and people can see that you're authentic, that will resonate with most people. Yeah. So I think that when I was acting, what I learned was acting is an inside out process. and you can tell when someone is doing it outside in, and they're just putting something out there and trying to internalize it, and it doesn't come across very authentic. But if you start with the inside and let that come out, then I think that resonates a lot more with people.
I believe the word is engaging. So
Absolutely.
You need to figure out a way to engage your audience. So however that needs to come through, it needs to come through in that way, right? As a project manager who's presented different topics and different things, especially as a project manager, a lot of the topics that we present can be very dry. So you need to engage your audience in some way, right? Especially when I speak on topics like ethics and code of conduct, that can be very boring, right? So you need to figure out a way to engage your audience and get them to be interested. So however that needs to come through, it needs to come through, whether that's your voice or intonation or body language, or all of the above. You need to figure out a way.
Yeah. Annie, I'd like to talk more about like your sustainable homing and stuff and the abstract idea you started with and how it changed along the way. But we only have about 4 minutes left. So we're going to move on to everyone having this is something I added a couple meetings back, is I used to have events on the end because I thought events were hard to find. Then I realized that like having sort of these action asks at the end might be more potent for people. So for those that aren't ready for this, think about it as it's coming up to you. Like, what's an action you'd like people to do that is kind of your ask at the end of this? And it can be very direct, like towards your business, or it could be something abstract. Alan always asks about voting, and yeah. So, and I like to ask you to make something like moving forward and figuring out what you're going to do next and stuff. So I'm going to ask this time, be abstract. Define what your abstract goals are. So I think that's a pretty good one. And I also, of course, would love for you to see if I'm a good use in that goal, but on your own, just figure out what your abstracts are. So we'll go ahead and go the same order that we started. So Annie, what's your ask?
My ask is, what is the one thing you think you can do to challenge yourself for the good of our planet in the sense of a sustainable lifestyle? That's my ask.
Great.
One thing good that you can do for the good of our planet in a sustainable way.
Thanks. Alan, your ask.
Well, other than voting, my ask is that you make a real honest effort to be true to your core values in whatever you do.
Great. Thank you, Alan. Phil.
I don't know. I'm still thinking.
Lisa.
So my action ask would be, I'm still looking to meet HR consultants in Albuquerque, because obviously all my network is still back in Texas, but we don't talk about that if we don't have to. And then I guess my abstract ask is, as always, please be kind in everything that you do and in everyone that you deal with.
That's great. Thanks,
and not just the human people, but all the people that exist in this world.
And Jen and Pierre, you guys could do separate ones.
My action ask is to effectively break down the bigger goals into smaller bite-sized goals. And my abstract ask is to be calm during the no doubt crazy election, and for everybody to strive to speak to people of a different political persuasion with calmness. There's too much echo chamber, people talking amongst their own belief compadres, So I think it's the sort of reaching out it's great Buddhist practice just to, talk to other political persuasions and remain calm. And
thanks, Pierre. Jen.
Yeah, so I guess what I would ask is that for myself and everyone to just slow down and appreciate the small things, your immediate small world and the gorgeous nature we have around here. New Mexico is just amazing. It's totally amazing.
The
mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a good view of that from your place?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty amazing. So we're in El Dorado and Santa Fe. We're renting a place here.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And so we can see the Ortiz, we can see the backside of the Sandias, which from this side looks like, I call it the sleeping whale.
So we know where you guys are
We're always looking over there.
over there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just amazing here.
Cool. Thanks, Jen. JJ.
Okay, well, my ask's pretty simple. I'm gonna say have fun and don't be so serious.
That's great.
Not enough time to stress. So have some fun this weekend safely.
Thank you. It's great. My daughter just had a birthday yesterday, and what we did to celebrate was we went out and the overpass. There's a walking overpass, and they were wearing like their Halloween costumes and stuff. And then we got people to honk at us, and so I imagine it was great for the kids. It was great for my wife. It was my wife's idea, and she loved it, of course. And I think it was also neat for like the people coming by to say, "Oh, we get to give a little bit of Halloween to those little kids up there." So it was pretty nifty. So I think that's okay. That's everybody on there.
No, I've got my ask. I've been thinking.
Good.
So I've got to ask. My personal ask is, does anybody know of a good app builder? And I need to have discussions with the app builder, because I want to also put my book into an app, and I need to have that model working as I believe it should work, so that people can use it. So that would be my ask. If you know a good app designer, then I'll be interested in knowing that. And I guess my abstract one is, having traveled the world, one of the things that I learned was it doesn't matter what color, creed, culture, or wherever you're from, underneath we're all the same. So be nice to each other, because it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, on the inside, you're all exactly the same.
Cool. And on that similar note, so seeing people and trusting people is a big thing. So November 6th, we're going to talk about Trust Clarified. This is going to be based a lot on the ABCDs that Ken should prepare with his last name, but I forgot it again. Anyway, Blanchard. What?
Oh, you're thinking, I thought the leader, author and leader. That's Ken Blanchard. You're right.
Yeah, Ken Blanchard.
I was
So
thinking Ken Knoll in the local area. I was thinking Ken Knoll. Never mind.
yeah, I know Ken Knoll. So, but yeah, Ken Blanchard talks about trust. So, and it's a huge thing, especially if you're consulting or working with a good, big group of a whole chamber, or all that stuff. So being able to be clear about what you're trusting about and what sort of trust you're trying to build with your clients is huge. So how do you explain it when you trust? That's what we're going to talk about. And keep the sparks flowing. Thanks for joining me, everybody.
Thanks.
Bill, I just, in the private chat, I sent you an app designer I know.
Oh, okay. Let me have a quick look before he cuts me all off.
I won't cut you off.
And Phil, real quick, I was going to say, yeah, we have one of our members here at the chamber is the founder of AdWallet here in Albuquerque, which is
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Lisa, can you share that? Because I'd like to have that as well. Can you share that with everyone, please, Lisa?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hang on. I was going through my book to see if I had anyone else. Let me go back to her. It's weird keeping a digital book. I kept a physical book with everyone's business cards for so long. But now I don't collect business cards anymore, so I can't just pass it.
Becky Lowe at
Thanks,
canopydigital.org. Okay.
Abstract goal with a concrete change.
And sorry, JJ, you were saying what?
No, I'll email it to you. I got your email, so what I'll do is I'll shoot it to you.
Okay.
Hey, nice meeting everybody. Happy full moon Halloween.
And Pierre, welcome. Hope to see you more.
Thanks.
Have a good week, everybody. And everybody make sure they vote.
See you
Right.
12:30, Phil.
Yep.
See you later.
We're now off live. It's great.